Emergency meeting to order. Public comments on any items not on the agenda? No, we'll go right into staff reports.
Thank you, Mayor. At this point in time, we presented to you a consideration for state of emergency proclamation for Hurricane Ian. And the proclamation, if I can read it for the city attorney for just a moment, proclamation of the city of Cocoa Beach, Florida, declaring a state of local emergency due to the approach of Ian. After the city attorney takes care of her piece of this process, we'd like to bring up staff to give you an update on what we are doing here in the city of Cocoa Beach, and then answer any of your questions at that point in time.
Thank you. City attorney?
Becky?
Hello, yes, this is State of Emergency Proclamation Hurricane Ian, a proclamation of the city of Cocoa Beach, Florida, declaring a state of local emergency due to the approach of Hurricane Ian, providing the city with power.
That's just been cutting off. Becky?
So I'll finish reading until she comes on.
Yeah.
Providing the city with powers, including but not limited to those pursuant to Florida statutes, Chapter 252 and City Code Chapter 8.5. Providing for penalties for violation, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date and a termination date. And I believe that is how it's written at this point in time. Is that Becky back?
Yes, Becky?
Okay, so Mayor, in the state of emergency proclamation, the city attorney provided this to us over the weekend. She was constantly updating, providing us information. Again, we follow the state, where the governor of the state of Florida has already declared state of emergency. We, I believe, have stated the dates in which you may discuss those dates, and we've discussed some of the information and precautions that we take as we go through the process.
Yep.
I do believe the city attorney was going to address a few items. Okay.
Okay. Dude, am I supposed to continue reading?
No, Becky, just any points you'd like to make. Robin finished the reading of the proclamation.
They're on there. Becky?
Yes.
Any
yes.
points you would like to add? Any?
Can you just ask?
Should I read the proclamation?
Maybe talking to the mic.
Hey, Becky, Robin read the proclamation. If there are any points you would like to add?
I make a motion to approve the proclamation.
Well, we're not quite there yet, but okay. All right, moving right along.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Again, I would be glad to bring staff up if you want to do that after your comments or your direction. That's up to you, Mayor.
All right, we'll start. Commissioner Tumulty.
Well, yeah, I don't have any comments up front, but after we hear from the directors and
Okay.
EMTs.
Well, there was a motion that didn't get a second. Would you like me to second your motion?
Are we,
We're not quite there yet.
Okay.
I don't have any comments yet, but just everyone stay safe.
Commissioner Miller, any comments?
I'll reserve that.
Vice Mayor Williams, any comments before we get some additional reports from staff, and then we will vote on a motion.
No additional comments.
All right.
And if I get cut off again, I'm voting yes.
Copy. All right. I don't have any, and will staff just be safe, everybody. Obviously, I think the flooding concern is the biggest concern everybody has, but look forward to staff report on this.
Okay, thank you. Brian Caslow, our utilities or water reclamation, will give an update. And this was one of our crucial and critical operations here in the city. And of course, you know, we also are affected by the port as well as Patrick. So some of the conversation that Brad provides will actually look into those facilities too in those areas.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brad Kelso, Water Reclamation Director. Just a brief update. We began storm preparations yesterday. The main thing yesterday that we did, we pulled out all of our portable generators. We fueled them up. We exercised them. All of our lift stations that have stationary generators, they exercise every Friday. So I'm very confident that we will be good in that realm. I will say that this storm, we are the most prepared for any power outages that we have ever been. During Irma, we received 9 generators from that storm, so we are very confident at a power stage for this storm. Also yesterday, we prepared our fleet vehicles and equipment. We fueled them up, ready to go. We got 3 bypass pumps ready to go in case we need to direct flow at different parts of the city. In case we do have a lift station go down and our generator's not working for some reason, we'll put a bypass pump there to keep the water moving. Keeping on the lift stations, we have crews out today checking lift stations. We will be working on 2 of them, lift station 14 in the Bay Shore area and lift station 16 on the north end of the city on Arthur. They will be taking apart the check valves and cleaning all the debris out of the check valves to optimize pumping efficiency at those stations. Once they're complete with that, we'll be checking all the other lift stations, just making sure everything is operating as normal. As far as the treatment plant goes, staff today is doing a deep cleanse on our new filtration system. I am very curious to see how our new filters handle the projected rainfall. I'm confident that it will handle it. During Irma, that was our bottleneck. So in 2020, when we upgraded our filters, I'm sure there will be new bottlenecks. We just don't know where it's going to be. But if we do get a lot of rain, we will find that bottleneck. Staff is also securing loose debris and anything that becomes a projectile in the yard, cleaning up the complex. And later this afternoon, we'll probably turn our generator on full load at the complex, just to exercise it for a couple hours. That decision has not been made yet, but they did exercise not under load this morning, and both of them are working just normal. And then later today, we'll be sending out a public information, just some helpful tips that our residents and business owners can do to limit the amount of water that enters the sewer system. As the mayor always alludes to, it's a 1960 sewer system. We have infiltration, so we're going to be inundated with water if we get a lot of rain. So if our residents and business owners can help reduce the amount of water going into the sewer system, every drop counts. So items like doing laundry today before the storm comes, turning the water off while you're brushing your teeth, every little bit helps. So. And lastly, once my crew is done with their duties today, we'll be helping out Public Works and Stormwaters in any capacity that they need.
Thank you. Any questions?
I had a question about the golf course. So the water that's coming out is going directly into the pond across Tom Warner, correct? And then then it filters through. Mm-hmm. And currently there's a pump on River 6, which goes out to the river, but after it goes through several ponds. Is that going to be operational throughout the week, or?
We actually just pulled that pump from the course today in case we need it at a lift station.
Okay.
Right now, our reuse tanks are okay. Last week, with all the rain, we had to discharge twice to the river. We sent about 11 million gallons through the golf course into the river last week. If we do get the projected rainfall that they're forecasting, it's more than likely we're going to have to discharge more water.
Yeah.
But we had to pull that pump to use at lift stations if needed.
Okay.
Just to clarify, Brad, you're talking about treated water, right?
Treated water. It is fully treated water.
Just so everybody knows, we're not
Right.
putting sewage in there.
And most,
We also, our injection well, we all are putting 2 million gallons a day down into the injection well, so that's getting rid of some of our water for us.
2 million a day?
Yes, we're permitted for that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how or efficient our water treatment facility is. It's the best in Central Florida. I'm not being biased. It's, the numbers show it, almost by magnitudes better than other facilities.
We take pride in it, and a lot of the credit goes to the directors before us putting all that in motion.
Oh yeah, they did. We were fortunate to have those folks, build this awesome water treatment facility. But you guys maintain it too, and like you said, you found a bottleneck for Irma, and we're certainly going to find out, with this being inundated with, anywhere 20 to plus inches of rain, likely. It's going to be overwhelming for everybody.
We're going to do our best to prevent any overflows, any blockages. But I can't guarantee it won't happen.
No.
It all depends on how much rainfall we get.
And just to add on what can residents do, I mean, certainly the items you pointed, maybe hold off on the past due laundry and on all the other high water usage events. As you mentioned last week, we had those torrential downpours, and our streets didn't handle that volume very well. I mean, roads were flooded, a couple cars. I know PD had to get a car out of A1A that was submerged. So just, stay home. Do everybody a favor and don't get yourself in a situation where you're gonna get your vehicle and get trapped underwater. So, thanks. Any other comments?
Okay, thank
Right,
you, Brad.
thanks.
Jared Francis is going to come up and represent Public Works, and he may also represent some of Stormwater, and he may also turn that over to Walker. I'm not sure his direction there.
Yes, I'll do Public Works and Stormwater.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Public Works and Stormwater have also started our prep. But actually, while we're talking about different things we can do, one thing I noticed on my way into work today was how many sprinklers were still running. If people can remember to turn those off, because the ground is already very saturated, we're expecting a lot of rain, so that was something that caught my eye on the way into work this morning, so just want to throw that out there. But we have started our prep. We've identified our critical staff. We started organizing our equipment, our chainsaws, front-end loaders, backhoes, all that stuff to make sure that we have quick and easy access to it. And also check to make sure it's functioning properly, including our generators and those sorts of things. We check to make sure everything is charged up, gassed up, keyed up, whatever we need. We want to make sure we have access to all that, and it's available. We topped off our fuel tanks, including our marine fuel. Our fleet managers reached out to Glover. They added some of the fuel, but haven't brought all of it, but that's on the way. Building maintenance crew is pulling all the banners and flags, because obviously not fun to do that. Get up in a bucket truck in a high wind, so they're taking care of that now. Emptying and securing trash bins at the beach Stubbins. Also working with KBB to remove the trash cans on the beach, the ones that they're responsible for, take care of for us. Stocking up on building supplies for PD and fire. Obviously, want to make sure these guys have toilet paper and those sorts of things if they're holed up at the fire department. Coordinating with fire, we will be coordinating with fire to make sure the AC units are strapped down on top of the fire department. Stormwater crew, obviously that's going to be very important. They're checking all the drains. They've been doing that over the last couple days, going through checking drains to make sure they're clear of debris or any obstructions. We're pulling all of our sun tree baskets, which kind of help keep nutrients out of the lagoon, but they slow the flow a little bit. So we're pulling all those so we can get as much water out as quickly as possible. We reached out to our street sweeper to inquire about their ability to assist with a post-storm street sweep. So just see how quickly we can get them out there afterwards to sweep up the roadways, because obviously expecting a lot of debris with the winds and rains. So waiting to hear back from them on that. And of course, we're coordinating with Crowder Gulf and Tetra Tech about debris removal and reporting and all that for possible FEMA reimbursement. And like Brad and those guys, kind of collectively, we're just strapping down loose items and checking for loose debris and that sort of thing, just to make sure we're all good to go. And done a lot of coordination with waste management over the last couple of days, and so we're gonna definitely stay in touch with them. And so that's kind of what we have going on right now in Public Works and Stormwater.
So I think I just would add a little bit. So we have had some notices of debris or really palm fronds on the side of the road. Our crews, if Waste Management does not pick those up, we'll pick those up. We'll try to make a trip over to the landfill if we have the opportunity, just because we also fill up in our areas in which we put trash. So we'll attempt to do that. Again, we would just encourage citizens to take in their garbage cans. There are a lot of garbage cans sitting on the road, and again, they may be pick up today, so that's okay, but let's not leave them out during the storm event starting sometime tomorrow. So we would encourage that, for them to help us in that respect. And I think we'll continue sending out notices on debris and so forth, just to, again, inform the citizens as to where we are at that process. Waste Management is helping, but again, they're helping everyone. So we know that it may be hit and miss, so we'll try to pick up. The other thing that we will pick up, the Chief of Police has code enforcement and traffic control, so he can speak in just a moment, but our traffic department will be picking up any of the mattresses and items on the side of the road as best we can, again, so they are not loose and out there in a wind situation where they may become flying debris. So we'll also pick those things up, just again to clean the road. So that's something we're all working on to take care of. Anything that I missed, Jared?
I don't think so.
Okay. Question?
Thank you.
And if a resident has a pile of vegetation, who should they contact to get that cleaned up?
Again, I wish they would send an email online, report a concern. They can put their address. That's the easiest way.
Perfect.
Otherwise, our phones become pretty inundated with calls. So that's the best way to, and it's right on the front page.
All right.
Okay, Jared?
Well, I know that Waste Management has its own website, but would we post on the CBNN when and if they're going to suspend service?
We will do that. So they'll send us a notice. Dean has been very good about keeping us informed, so I expect to hear from her today. We'll send that out. Usually they provide us a email or a Facebook post, and we'll pass that on through as presented to us. Okay. Chief. Our police chief will come up and give you an update again on police services. Part of the police services include code enforcement and traffic, as well as beach rangers. So just kind of an overall perspective as to what we are doing currently in the city, not just our normal work, but also preparing for the event.
Mayor, Commission, Scott Rosenfeld, Police Chief. Our biggest challenge is the internal logistics. Externally, we're ready to go. We just fall into place. Internally, the entire police department works during a hurricane. So we're going to make a decision at some point, probably today, if we need to move into 24-hour mode. So the entire police department comes in and they stay. And at that point, we split 12-hour shifts. So while half the department, and that's including dispatch, so while half the department is on duty, the other half rests. And then after that 12-hour shift, the other half comes back on. So in an emergency, you have the entire police department that can roll out and help. The most important thing is if we do move towards an evacuation and we get into the heart of the storm, police and fire don't respond. So we say that over and over. We're hunkering down just like you are. So when you get reckless and careless, you put your public safety at risk if we do respond. Leading up to this, we have an incident command structure in place, and it's second verse, same as the first. This is not our first rodeo. We just fall into place. So we're well prepared. We have a place to put certain vehicles. We usually double up our vehicles, and we try to use our SUVs as much as we can. The Chargers are garbage in water, so we try to deadline those and take the SUVs and our pickup trucks. The city manager had said parking enforcement will do the best that they can leading up to the storm, as long as they work, to try to pick up some debris and some bulk trash. But keep in mind, our parking enforcement, they're not 25-year-old fit guys. You know, these are 60, 70-year-old people. They're not going to pick up soggy mattresses. So they may stay, or we may have to call Public Works to come pick those up. And because we have so much personnel on duty, if traffic lights go out, we have enough staffing to be able to handle that, and we can assist residents leading up to the storm until we get to a point where we need to hunker down. Any questions?
You're glad we have a new building.
Yeah, we're going to put our new building to the test as well, and then we don't have to impose on Fire, who has been so gracious over the last several years. City manager would like at least one of our command staff to stay with Fire. I'm going to nominate Deputy Chief Wes Mullins, since he's the police department's emergency manager, because you're not going to pull the king from his castle. I'm staying in my new police department. So we're going to babysit that and make sure that everything is okay and there's no leaks. And even with a new fire department, I remember when during Matthew, they had leaks, even in a brand new fire department. So we're going to get some mud on the tires and see how that works out.
Great, thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Chief, Fire Department, come on up. So-
Good morning, Ryan Duckworth, Fire Chief. I'd like everybody to say a prayer for my work vehicle, which started vibrating this morning when it worked. Jonathan has it now, and it's on critical
Speak
life
into this.
support. We're gonna hope it's okay.
Speak up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Move the mic. Yeah.
My work vehicle started like doing that whole like you go on a rumble strip this morning. I'm like, figures this morning would do this, so it's in Jonathan's good hands. Anyway, back to the storm at hand here. Back to our situation. The best thing I can tell you is looking at the plan, every wave of it. There's two really beneficial things. Well, actually three. Number one is everyone knows their job. And the people that are new to us that haven't been through this before have people around them, and if they have a question, they have some people, they have support to help them. Luckily, this is what the Deputy Chief Grimes and I call like a 1.5 type activation, where you're activating certain select things. Since we're not getting a direct hit, thank goodness, and we are getting those pieces ready. Some of the things we identified have already been mentioned. I know Chief Rosenfeld mentioned Dodge Chargers are going to go, we're just going to park them. We're looking for high water vehicles, our district vehicles, a high water vehicle, as well as Deputy Chief Grimes. We're also going to go through the inventory with Brad Calso and Scott Maxim, or whoever is, anyone who has their hands on the stake bed trucks, anything that's above 3 feet is great. We've identified all the repetitive loss properties in the city from frequent hurricanes, water events, whatever you want to call them. The really good thing is that as far as elected officials, I had a couple here. I spent a hurricane with Commissioner Tumulty and Mayor Malik, so you both know very clearly what happens and how it goes. And this is going to be a little bit of a special storm. It seems to be, I remember someone mentioned yesterday in a meeting that there was a westerly current steering this, and there was I believe it was the city manager explaining it was a high pressure cold front and a shear wind basically steering the storm to almost look like it would go right across the state, almost similar to Charlie. And waking up this morning, it seems that every 3 to 8 hours, every 3, 5, 8 hours, it seems to be. The good thing is that we are prepared, working on having our logistics in order. We have our staff identified. We will not have a full staff. We'll have selective staff on call. We'll have a full shift to run regular calls. We do not have any plans to evacuate any apparatus at this time. We'll have some specialists on board who are like the water rescue personnel folks, technical rescue, people that are good at doing the weird jobs. So if we do get flooding, which we probably will get some flooding, people will get trapped. And when I say rescue someone, they're elderly and they can't walk through it, and walking in stormwater, you never know what's in there. So, but we'll be available up until winds, I'd say 38 to 41 miles an hour is what we can probably get out, because we're not going to send certain vehicles to certain calls that don't warrant them. We're going to try to save as many assets as we can, just keep everybody as safe as possible. And the biggest thing is stay in continuous communication and document every single second. Let's just say they'll start multiplying today, where we'll have a full incident action plan to go with the ICS 214 time sheets, which is for FEMA. I know a lot of people are already doing them. I know we had a meeting with the city manager yesterday, and she's doing, but it's good to track everything what you're doing. So I think we've been through storms from different directions. The worst one that I've seen come through here is Irma. So we've seen how bad it can get. We've seen what different directional storms do. We know about storm surge, and we know about the direction of travel, about overall, about how the bridges don't close, and
Sheriff will tell us
yes. And please leave all the water.
An evacuation order, and do we anticipate that?
Yes. Okay. We will know for sure. Some of the conditions are sustained winds. I want to say they're in the high tropical storm force category, closer to hurricane. Barrier Island. The only exceptions to those are special needs patients who register care, and hospitals and specialized care facilities, since we do not have any nursing homes in the city. So evacuation order, or and we call it simpler than that, a special needs evacuation order. Right now, we haven't heard anything today. I know we're going to have a lot of people on the conference call with John Scott. 3:15, you guys that man? Okay. And we will have get it. What I always say is that we're better as a system, we're better as a team. There's one thing that the police chief talked about running 12s and 12s, basically Alpha Bravo shift. We're going to make a decision today, Chief Grimes and I, about what this is when we get the workers. There's a lot of workers here working around the clock. I know Brad, forgive what if our resident chef, he has a connection, account, that's the word I'm looking for, sorry. He has an account with a restaurant supply company that he can build, and he can actually place orders. All we need is 24 hours notice, and we plan, Chief Grimes and I plan on having a meeting with the city manager prior to us leaving this building today to find out what we're going to do on that. So other than that, from what I can see is you've seen the turning to the right, to the easterly. So every millimeter energy this way, we can handle saturation levels. That's where it gets a little touchy. That's the misnomers are hide from the wind and run from the water. So we're gonna see what happens in the next 24 hours. Will tell. You'll probably see all of us, our command staff, coming in. So we're gonna start settling in and active.
My concern is this. The current projections have an evacuation order, and the winds are such that they close the causeway, and we're trapped.
Well, people are welcome to drive on. They're welcome to leave anytime they can. Now, once the winds get to a point and then come back down, they can't leave at any time, because that's we don't know if the bridge is, whichever bridge or whichever route, it could be, a road could be washed out, weakened by water, a barge hitting, and miscellaneous. So that is a bit of a Irma that we're like, well, it's tropical storm force winds, but boy, they didn't stick around and stay every bit of 73 miles an hour continuously for 6 to 8 hours, and we saw what that did. It is no joke. That stuff is something to be taken seriously. Yeah. So we'll know more today from listening on the EOC conference call about special needs evacuations at all, and what the generalized mode, what the EOC activation level that's reflected to that, and also with a lot of input to the type of in our planning meetings that we will be. We've been a lot of planning. That's all I can say. A lot of planning. We've done this before. We're checking all the boxes and all the things are. It's like, what do we do?
All of our employees are well. The situation we're in right now, this hurricane, we're uncertain really where it's going to go. It's starting to trend more toward the east, which would be on top of us.
Yes.
And as Commissioner Miller said, you know, what if we have an evacuation? Been around here for quite a while, and sometimes when you evacuate to the hurricane. You know,
where
some
it's
people
going.
have gone to Orlando, and it hits Orlando, and
Yes.
it doesn't hit us. So, Cocoa Beach. I would suggest 95 south and
evacuate tens of miles.
what you all can and can't do. I mean, do a lot of great things, but if the winds are tropical force level, sustained tropical force level, cut off, because you have to be safe to be able to save more people down the line when the winds do come back. And we get hit, we'll close the bridges to check for structural integrity and whatnot. I would ask that the city manager with the county emergency management center, because during Matthew, they decided they were opening the bridges without letting us know or even discussing with us. Treatment facility, they had no power, and we were going to let thousands of people back in town without any without the water treatment facility being available. It would have been inundated.
Sure.
So unfortunately, we got it all. It all ended up working out, but we had a lot of angry folks that were waiting on the roads because there was miscommunication from higher levels. So I'm sure you'll be on that, but I just wanted to, give a little reminder.
Sure. So this year, we're very fortunate. Dr. Petro from Rockledge, City of Rockledge, will be in constant contact with Brevard County. She'll be there from time to time because of the close proximity. She'll communicate with all city managers. We've had that conversation, a lot of conversation. As the chief also mentioned, I'm part of those conversations with Brevard County EOC each day, part of the flash report. So there's very good communication between the city and EOC at Brevard County level. So I think that they've realized some of the challenges in the past. And so Dr. Petro is definitely prepared for that conversation with each of us.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's been very, very helpful in that position. The last two things I have, number one is the parking garage, our city parking garage up here right across from the fire. It was, I don't know what year it was, but there's a parking plan